She whispered, said it was just one mistake. Like that would somehow undo what I'd already seen. But I counted. 143 messages. Every word, every picture, every moment she thought she could keep hidden. I forwarded them all to her parents, packed up her things without a word, and stood in silence as she cried outside my door, begging me not to do this. But it was already done. I can't say exactly when the doubt began to take root in my chest. Maybe 2 months ago, maybe even longer. But I do remember the precise moment everything shifted. It was a Thursday night, one we had marked for dinner together after her shift, which ended at 6 o'clock. I had cooked her favorite meal, creamy chicken Alfredo with warm garlic bread, and that red wine we always saved for small, shared celebrations. Nothing extravagant, just something comforting for both of us. But she didn't walk through the door until 8:15. There was no message, no heads up, just silence. And when she finally stepped inside, casually tossing her keys on the counter, she gave me a smile that didn't sit right. It was the kind of smile that only looks normal if you aren't already suspicious. But I was. "Sorry, babe," she said as she slipped off her shoes. "Sarah and I went for drinks after work. I thought you'd understand." I nodded. I always tried to be understanding, to be patient. Maybe I'd been too forgiving for too long. That night, I barely touched the meal I had made. The wine remained sealed. She went to shower while I sat alone at the table, lost in thoughts I didn't want to be thinking. Her phone buzzed 3 times on the counter. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have given it a second glance. But something in my gut told me to look, and I did. The name on the screen read Kyle, HR. Just that was enough to make my hands go cold. The message previews were damning. "Can't stop thinking about last night. You left your earring in my car. Next time, no more pretending." I sat frozen, heart pounding, staring at the illuminated screen. I didn't open the messages. I just kept staring until the screen dimmed again. When she came out of the bathroom, humming softly, wrapped in a towel, I was still at the table, pretending to scroll through my phone like nothing had happened. But I couldn't sleep that night. Her phone sat there on the nightstand, almost taunting me. I laid there listening to her breathing, steady and peaceful, while mine was erratic and shallow. At 2:12 a.m., I finally reached for it. My hands trembled as though I was doing something wrong. But what I found confirmed everything I feared. It wasn't just a recent thing. Kyle from HR had been part of her life for weeks, maybe months. Their messages were flirty, filled with private jokes, pictures, and plans to sneak away together. Sometimes during lunch breaks, sometimes right after work. On the same nights she told me she was working late for inventory. There were 143 messages. I counted every single one. Each one carved into me like a slow, dull knife. The next morning I didn't rage. I didn't fall apart. I simply asked her, as calmly as I could, "Who's Kyle?" She froze. Then came a sigh, long, tired, and guilt-soaked. "It was just one mistake," she whispered, as if minimizing it would change anything. I nodded slowly, looked her in the eyes, and repeated, "One." That night, after she had drifted off to sleep, I quietly forwarded all the screenshots to myself. I needed proof, not for others but for me, so that later, when the pain softened and the doubt tried to creep back in, I'd have the truth laid out plainly. Proof that I hadn't imagined it, that I hadn't overreacted. I went to work the next day like nothing had happened. I smiled at my coworkers. I laughed at Greg's ridiculous jokes during break. But something inside me had shifted. A numb detachment settled into my chest like frost creeping over glass. That weekend, we were supposed to have brunch with her parents. I still went. I played the role, smiled, made polite conversation, helped her dad carry a box out to the garage. I even complimented her mom's casserole. Then, after dessert, while she was in the kitchen helping clean up, I pulled out my phone and sent her parents every single screenshot. I typed just one line. "I thought you deserved to know the truth about your daughter's mistake." I slid the phone back into my pocket, walked into the kitchen, looked her in the eyes and said, "I'm heading out." She blinked, confused. "What? We're supposed to..." I cut her off. "I know everything. Then I walked out the front door. I didn't look back. The air outside felt colder than it should have been. Maybe it was the weight of what I had just done, or maybe it was that deep emptiness that follows betrayal, the kind that numbs you even to your own grief. I got in my car, drove a few blocks, parked, and just sat in silence. The messages started coming in one after another. First, her mother. What is this? Is it real? Are you serious? Then her father. Call me. Now. Then her. What did you do? Why would you do that to me? You didn't have to involve my family. Please just talk to me. I turned my phone over and stared at the ceiling of my car. I wasn't ready to answer any of them. The truth is, betrayal doesn't always come with shouting or door slamming. Sometimes it's slow, quiet, a gradual erosion of trust that leaves nothing behind but a hollow echo where love used to be. I spent the next few days at Ryan's place. He offered me his spare room, no questions asked. When I finally told him the whole story, he shook his head. Man, you were too good to her. Always were. I didn't respond. I wasn't looking for pity. I just needed space to breathe. She kept reaching out. Her texts were long, filled with apologies. Some came as voice notes, her crying, admitting it wasn't just one time, that it had gone on for a few weeks. But she insisted it meant nothing, that it was purely physical, that she missed me. She sent a photo of the necklace I gave her on our second anniversary, laid next to a note that read, I ruined everything. Please don't hate me. But it was her mother's message that struck me the hardest. I don't know what to say. I always thought the world of you. I'm so sorry this happened. You deserved better. That one cut deeper than any of her daughter's apologies. Her mom had always been kind, thoughtful. The kind of woman who made you tea just because you looked tired and somehow always remembered how you took your coffee, even if you only told her once. Knowing I disappointed her, too, even when I had done nothing wrong, stung in a way I hadn't expected. A couple of days later, I got a message on Instagram. It was from Kyle. Hey man, I had no idea you guys were still together. She told me you had broken up. I stared at his profile picture for a while, him grinning like a fool, a puppy in his lap. He looked like any other regular guy. I didn't respond. Couldn't. Whether he knew or not, he was part of it now, part of a tangled web of deception I never asked to be caught in. More time passed. I eventually returned to the apartment. Technically, it was mine all along. She had only moved in after a year of dating. I went during the day when I knew she'd be at work. I didn't want to see her. She hadn't taken much. Just emptied a few drawers, grabbed some clothes, and her favorite mug was missing. But her scent lingered in the bathroom, and her scarf still hung by the door. I packed up the rest of her things, lit a candle to clear the air, and tried not to dwell on it. That night, she texted me, you didn't even give me a chance to explain. We were happy. You know we were. I typed a reply, stared at it, then deleted it. Some things don't need closure. Some people don't deserve it. It's been 6 weeks. Healing, they say, is a straight path. But that's a lie. Some mornings I feel like myself again. I run, make coffee, laugh at stupid shows. Other days, I lie awake at 3 a.m., wondering how long she planned to keep lying. Wondering how long I would have kept believing her if I hadn't checked her phone. A few days ago, I saw her at the grocery store. Not even our usual one. A different neighborhood. I was reaching for pasta when I heard her laugh before I saw her. She was with friends, smiling, hair done, dressed up. She looked happy. I didn't walk up to her. I stayed behind a shelf of cereal, watching her from a distance. And I felt nothing. Not anger. Not sorrow. Just detachment. Like seeing a stranger I once thought I knew. 2 days after that, her dad emailed me. It was short. We had no idea. We're so sorry. You were a good man. Still are. I read that last line over and over. You were a good man. It made my eyes sting more than I expected. I forwarded the email to myself twice, just to be sure it wouldn't get lost. People talk about heartbreak like it's dramatic, storms, screaming, glass shattering. But in reality, it's subtle. It's the playlist you can't listen to anymore. The restaurant you avoid. The grocery store you switch. I started therapy. At first, I wasn't sure why. But by the third session, I was talking about everything. Not just her, but the way I ignored red flags, how I always tried to be the easygoing one, how I swallowed my discomfort to keep peace. My therapist said something that stuck. The betrayal hurts because it confirms every small moment you ignored. And that hit hard. The affair wasn't the beginning of my heartbreak. It was just the tipping point, the explosion after months of silent erosion. I wasn't perfect, but I didn't deserve what she did. And finally, I believed that. Last week, I went back to the old place one last time. The lease was up. I stood in the empty room and whispered goodbye. Not to her, but to the version of me that stayed too long. The one who made excuses. The one who mistook comfort for connection. I dropped the keys through the mail slot and walked away. So yeah, she said it was just one mistake. But I counted 143. And the final one, believing for even a second that I'd ever take her back. Thanks for sticking around till the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories.